Hello there. This is Cheryl Riggin, and I'm with Resilience Win, and I thank you for joining us today. I've asked Judy Egan to share with you a story about her journey in living through cancer and the victories that she has now. So, Judy, you want to just kind of share about yourself?
Thanks for coming, Cheryl.
Thank you.
And I just want to let everyone know, don't give up. I never thought that I would ever have breast cancer. When it was diagnosed after a routine yearly mammogram back in 2011, um, I asked, okay, how soon next week can we have surgery to get rid of this? And it ended up being the 12th of January when I finally underwent the surgery. And thankfully, they said there was no sentinel lymph node involvement, and they excised the cancer and gave me the option of either chemo or radiation, or because it was in, at that point, the gray area of, you can gamble and not do anything. Well, I'm not a gambler. I don't even buy lottery tickets. And I had a husband who was on di- um, dialysis, as well as he had a port because he had chronic lymphocytic leukemia. And I thought, I've got to keep myself healthy for him. I've got to take care of him. So there was no question I was going to put myself through both chemo and radiation. It's like the blind leading the blind because nobody told me what you were going to experience. I love these, you know, the medical staff gives you sort of assumptions of what you can expect
Because everyone's different.
because everybody is different, Cheryl.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a fun situation for me. I'll put it bluntly. I was sick. But I got through 4 sessions of chemo, um, lost about 30 pounds, which I needed to lose. Unfortunately, after I was quote unquote healed, I put 20 back on. It's amazing how your appetite does come back. But the reason you lose a lot of weight, I found out, was I was using metal utensils and find out that plastic is better because you don't have that metallic taste in your mouth. Also, that's why I dehydrated 3 different times and had to go back and be rehydrated.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but you know something? It's a learning experience. I did it. I'd do it again. Believe it or not, I would do it again if I had to, because I had people that were counting on me. And I just felt, okay, God, one day at a time. And that's what I did. I prayed a lot. He was with me. I know He was with me. And I got through it. The one thing that I think was very funny was during this experience, I was asked to fill out a piece of paper and how many people on my mother's side had cancer. There was no one on my mother's side who had cancer, but everybody on my father's side. His siblings, he had 2 sisters and a brother, they all passed from various forms of cancer, including my dad. So I think it was something, it was a wake up call to the medical staff and medical institution of, in its own, to realize that this isn't just on the female side of the family.
Well, and so with that, what is it that you mentioned your husband? You needed to get better, to care for him.
My husband was 10 years older than I am, and he was the best thing that ever happened to me outside of my children. And he depended on me. to be the strong person, to get him to and from his dialysis sessions, which were 3 days a week. And I love it with dialysis. They say, oh, you're going to feel great. You can just carry on. Life is normal. Well, that's not the case with every single individual. And my husband was one of those that was atypical.
Yeah, and so, in caring for him and, dealing with your situation, your personal situation, there's that balance there, where you could have become woe is me and life is tough, but you continue to um, maintain a positive attitude, and you continue to look at the sunshine instead of the storm.
I've always
How were you able to do that?
I've always been a person who looks at the bright side of things. Yes, there is the negative out there. Yes, there's negativity all around us every day. And I just wasn't going to let it consume me. I'm not saying I don't have pity party days. Yes, I do. And you know what I do for them? I clean the damn house. And I believe in the adage, dust is a protective covering of your furniture. Okay? Being arty farty, I admit it, but that's not something that I enjoy doing. But when I get myself to the point of being depressed, I got to get rid of that feeling.
Yeah, so what about you showed me your sanctuary?
Yes, my quilt room.
Okay, your quilt room. So you love quilting. Now, how often when you're feeling the negative more than the positive, will you go to your quilting to
Oh,
help you move forward?
I do it every day. I know that I am addicted. Some people are addicted to a lot of different things. Some people are addicted to soapies on the TV. My mom was. She believed every single story, and she used to crack me up. Oh, that's so and so. He's cheating on her or whatnot. And I'm thinking, oh, come on, mom. And people probably say the same thing about how much I quilt. But I quilt because it's a God gift. It's a gift from God that I can create something to share with someone else to make them feel good.
Yeah, and you did with the quilting, you do the make the quilts at church.
Yes, we have a prayer quilt ministry called Prayers and Squares. It's a national organization, and we
Mm-hmm.
meet twice a month. And we have people to fill out applications for requests for a quilt. Once the quilt is made, and they're lap quilts, they're comfort quilts, they are placed on the altar at our church and blessed in the name of the person who's going to receive it. Then we put um, pearl cotton ties on those quilts, and we take it over to the parish hall. So during coffee hour after services, people can tie knots and say a prayer with every knot that they tie for that individual that's going to receive that quilt. So it is a comfort quilt. It's loaded with prayers. It's been blessed by God, and it just is a great motivator to help you feel there are people behind you. There are all these prayers going up for you. So
It,
darn it, pick up your depression, put it in a bag and throw it away and know you're going to be okay.
and because I received one of those blankets, and it was such a comfort, and the colors in them, they're just so beautiful. But the other thing is the people that came, and they would stop by occasionally. I never experienced that before, until the church I go to now. And my goodness, I mean, it really lifted my spirits, and it made me feel really good. And you did, I don't know if you mentioned it to everyone about the need to receive.
Yes, I was always taught it's better to give than to receive. And it's very humbling. It's so humbling as a person who is very independent. to receive something.
Yeah.
And and all you can do is give the recipient that's giving it to you an embrace, a hug, because hugs, they speak louder than words, and no words can say what you have just been given. It's a God gift.
It's kind of interesting because when you're going through chemo, at certain stages when you really have no strength and you're a very independent person, it's really, I mean, it's so humbling to receive from those that are stronger than you. It really teaches you a life lesson.
Yes, and I
Yeah.
tell you, I received one before I was undergoing chemo. And when I would go to chemo, I would take my prayer quilt with me. And the other people that were also being infused would look at my quilt and say, "Wow, that is so great. Who did that? Where'd you get that?" And I've got to tell you, it just fills you with peace.
Oh, that must have really let you know how important those quilts are, huh?
Yes.
So, and that was when you received the quilt, was that after you were already designing quilts and giving it to people with
I
cancer? And
was,
then you
yeah,
had, wow.
yeah, yeah. We had started the group at church in 2007, and this was 2012.
Oh, wow.
So when here I am in the choir at church, and I see this really pretty quilt up on the altar rail waiting to be blessed. I didn't know it was for me.
Oh, wow.
And then
Oh, man, that's
and then
amazing.
when it was so powerful when it was, and Judy's going to be undergoing chemo and surgery, and please God bless this quilt to keep her knowing that you are with her always. It was it was really a tearjerker.
Oh, that's really neat. Well, so in closing, do you have any final words you'd like to share with the audience?
Be determined to survive. You will get through this. I just had a nephew that went through cancer and did chemo and radiation and pretty much drove himself there. He did have friends when he wasn't feeling up to it, but he realized that he had two children. One was just finishing high school, the other is in college. He needed to survive, he needed to keep going. And if he had to put himself through all of this crap, he was going to do it. And he just got a clean bill of health. And I was the first person he called to say, "Aunt Judy, I've beat it."
Well, that's a great way to end. I'm going to sign off now, and thank you, Judy, for being here and giving me your time to share with everyone, or giving all of us her time. God bless you all, and I hope that this will minister to your spirit and lift you. God bless.